There's a kind of silence that keeps you safe, and there's a kind of silence that keeps you small. At first, it's hard to tell the difference. You think you're choosing grace, diplomacy, professionalism. You tell yourself you're being strategic, that it's not the right moment to speak, and that you'll say something later, only that later never comes. And in the space where your voice should have been, the air thickens. The rot sets in quietly behind the walls. Invisible at first, harmless it seems, until one day the whole structure is at risk. This is what happens when we keep quiet to keep the peace. When we watch a colleague be gaslit by a manager and pretend we didn't notice. When we hear a backhanded comment towards another woman and say nothing. When we watch an assistant be overworked and underpaid and we excuse it because that's just how the industry is. Welcome to the Christina DiStefano podcast, where we explore the intersection of mindset to manifestation and the art of becoming in your space, your style, and your soul. I'm your host, Christina DiStefano, luxury real estate advisor, designer, and guide for the woman you're becoming. Here we go beyond surface level design and traditional success. We talk about transforming your home as a portal, embodying your next level identity, and creating a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're ready to step into your fullest expression with courage, intention, and beauty, you're in the right place. Let's begin. This isn't unique to my industry, real estate. It's in corporate boardrooms, in law offices, in startups. It's in the industries run by people who know the rules and use them like weapons. And it's in industries run by women who have climbed the ladder only to pull it up behind them. Every time we turn away, we're not just protecting ourselves. We are preserving the very architecture of the problem. Our silence becomes both a shield and a prison. It keeps us safe in the short term, but it locks the next generation into the same blueprint. And this silence isn't new. It's part of a longer story, one women have carried for generations. It wasn't that long ago, in 1920, where we gained the right to vote. In 1974, the right to open a bank account or apply for a credit card without a husband's signature. In 1981, the first woman appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court. That's all within a single lifetime. The women before us gave up comfort, reputation, safety, sometimes even freedom to demand rights we now take for granted. They didn't stay silent even when silence was safer. And because of their voices, we can speak freely in ours. Now it's our turn to decide, what will we give the women who come after us? I want to pause for a moment and put something in your hands that will keep this conversation alive long after the podcast ends. It's called the Powerhouse Handbook. It's my pocket-sized guide for women who are building bold lives and businesses filled with the same mindset shifts and mic drop reminders we talk about here. Think of it as your daily dose of power you can slip in your bag, your desk drawer, or your nightstand. If this message resonates with you, go grab your copy of the Powerhouse Handbook on Amazon today and let it remind you that your voice, your choices, and your power were never meant to be small. It wasn't that long ago that women weren't even allowed in these rooms, that we couldn't vote, that we couldn't even open a bank account or sign a business loan without a man's approval. The freedoms we stand on today were not handed to us. Let me repeat that to you. The freedoms we women stand on today were not handed to us. They were built on the voices of women who decided their silence cost too much. They risked reputation, safety, and comfort because they believed in a greater cause, because they understood something we cannot afford to forget. Our voices are never just for us. They echo forward. And now it's our turn. The next great cause isn't about gaining entry. It's about changing the atmosphere once we're inside. It's about refusing to replicate the harm that was done to us. It's about transforming sisterhood from a marketing slogan to a lived reality. If earlier generations fought to get us into the room, this generation must fight to change what happens in the room. And this is where identity comes in. We stop asking what's safe, and we start asking, what would the woman I'm becoming do? Would she step in when she saw the scales tipped against someone else? Would she address the quiet cruelty that passes as industry humor? Would she walk away from a client, a deal, a company that profits from exploitation? We decide in advance who we are. We lead from that identity, not from the fear of losing favor. And when we do, the ripple effect is unstoppable. The women who come after us will inherit not just our positions, but our principles. They'll walk into rooms where loyalty runs deeper than politics, where collaboration is not a threat, where opportunity is shared instead of hoarded. So here's the invitation. Be the one who speaks, not just when it's safe, not just when it's comfortable, but when it matters. Because the cost of silence is always paid by someone. And when we refuse to let that cost fall on another woman's shoulders, we are no longer building a career. We are building a bridge. Every moment starts small. One decision, one action, one voice breaking the pattern. Here's how we build the ripple. Number 1, choose your blueprint. Decide now who you are in the rooms where it's risky to speak. Anchor yourself to the identity of the woman you are becoming, not the one afraid of losing her seat at the table. Protect the foundation. That's number 2. Step in when you see cracks forming, whether it's a cruel remark, a subtle exclusion, or a blatant abuse of power. Your intervention becomes structural reinforcement for the women who follow. Number 3, mentor without permission. Don't wait to be asked. Offer guidance. Share knowledge and open doors for women who haven't yet been invited into the room. The best mentors act before anyone calls them one. 4, redefine power. Measure your success by the strength of the women around you. This is important. If you rise alone, you're a performer. And if you rise together, you're a leader. 5, build the bridge forward. Make it impossible for the next generation to mistake silence for professionalism. Leave a legacy where speaking up is not the exception, it's the expectation. Because the ripple doesn't end with you. It expands through every woman you stand for, every barrier you dismantle, and every new standard you set. We don't just survive the cost of silence, we bankrupt it, and in its place, we fund something bigger, a sisterhood strong enough to change the blueprint of business itself. If this podcast resonated with you, I'd love for you to share this episode with a friend, a woman in a position of power who can help change the way her industry runs, who can help change the perception of her industry and change the way we work and treat our female colleagues. Please share this podcast with them. And if you feel called, leave a review. It helps other women find this space and step into their own expression. Because the woman you're becoming doesn't shrink to fit in the room. She changes the architecture. Speak, stand, and lead. The ripple starts with you. And on that note, I want to say, sending you so much love from New York. Mwah.